Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to one of our newest shows here on the United Hour. This is Keeping It Real Mondays. I am your host, Devin, the one and only. With me, I have the man, the myth, the legend, the founder himself, President Chad. Chad, good afternoon, and how are you doing today?
Good afternoon. Well, boy, we win on the weekend and all, so I good.
Yes. Yeah, I got real nervous about that this weekend. Thought my weekend would be ruined early Saturday morning after watching that. But you know what? 3 points is 3 points. I don't care how we got them. We just got 3 points.
Correct is right.
Yeah. So with our new segment right now, keeping it real Mondays, just to give everybody an idea. It could be whatever topics we're going to recap from past weekend, any potential controversies, hinting at something later on the show potentially. Also looking forward to this week now in the world of Manchester United of what is to come. But we could start off the show with our first topic right now. But before we do that, for everybody who's watching in the comments, after you enjoy viewing our faces right here, need you to do us a favor, like, share, and subscribe to the show. Do not forget about our signed Wayne Rooney giveaway. It's not often that these come up for grabs, and so you don't want to miss out on this opportunity, especially the chance to get it for free. But without further ado, we need to start off with a pretty hot topic right now. What is going on with Rafael Varane? Um, it just seems, for whatever reason it is, that he has not been playing as much, and some people are speculating it could be a injury. Some people are speculating that it could potentially be as well as egos clashing with Ten Hag. Nobody is really sure what is going on with him right now. President Chad, I will open the floor with you on this one.
I think it's one or two things. The first thing, which is more likely and more a matter of the manager, is that we have realized, or medical staff, Ten Hag, the team has realized Rafael Varane cannot play 3 games a week, right? Rafael Varane was on the bench against City. Right after that game, was he on the bench? Yeah, he was on the bench
Mm-hmm.
against City. Then right after that game, in the middle of the week, we had Newcastle.
He did
I
not
think
play.
he came off. He didn't play at all. And then the next game was 2 days after that, the game on the weekend. And then we have Copenhagen. I expect Rafael Varane to start against Copenhagen. But I think those other games, the first 2 games, he was now coming back, and they wanted to be sure, didn't want him to get re-injured. And the reason he didn't play on the weekend, I think, is because they wanted him for this game in the middle of the week. I think they consider this game the harder of the 2 games, between Fulham and Copenhagen. So that's one thing. The other thing, which is something I personally believe, is that Rafael Varane, when he go and gets tough, likes to disappear. He may feel a little twinge, and he complains about it and he sits it out. I remember times last season when at the beginning of the season when we were going through some tough times, almost every other game, Rafael Varane was injured. And when we were on a run, sometimes I sure you remember watching games, Devin, and you see Rafael Varane get hit. And you tell yourself, gosh, boy, you man going to be all because you get so accustomed to it. And he fight through the pain and he was there the next game. So when things are going good, Rafael Varane to me seems to be a player that'll fight through the pain and will do everything to get back on the pitch. When things are going tough, when it's difficult, um, and I'm not saying he's the only player that does this, but to me, he's the most obvious player that does it when things are going tough. Once he feels any kind of, discomfort, he's going to sit out the game. Now, that's just my opinion, but it's an opinion based on what I have seen over a little while. And the one thing I would add to that as well is, for all the criticism we give Harry Maguire, and it is well deserved, the greatest ability is availability. And if it is one thing Harry Maguire has been ever since he has joined Manchester United, is most of the time he is available.
Yeah, I also have to give credit for this resurgence of Harry Maguire that we are seeing as of recent. I have not seen him realistically put a foot wrong, to say the least, lately. His mental state, that should be an example for a lot of players right now because he was very heavily criticized. I was one of the first people saying that he should be out the door this summer, and he's very much proving me wrong, and a lot of other
You're not,
people wrong, but they just won't admit it as well.
you're
Um,
not
Going
alone.
back to Rafael Varane, there is another theory that I keep on hearing about right now. I don't
Mm.
know the validity of it or not, but some people are saying that basically Ten Hag now is doing the Glazers' dirty work in a sense that I mean they want high earners off of the payroll now to, for whatever reasons, make their books look better, whatever it is right now, because they say now, okay, he Cristiano Ronaldo on ridiculous wages, I think over £500,000 a week, if I remember right. You had David De Gea on £375,000 a week. Um, Jadon Sancho was the next one, and we all know how that's going right now. And next on the list, if I remember correctly, is Rafael Varane. So that is a theory that is going around as well. And the events this weekend, bringing up Harry Maguire, where it seemed like for some reason it appeared that he actually was concussed. And so much so that the ref even stopped the match because out of concern for it. And for some reason, Ten Hag still kept him on, did not bring Varane on. Basically, did not bring him on until there was about 2 minutes left of stoppage time after we scored, just to kind of lock up shop. And then, so that started making me wonder about a couple things as well too. Do you have any thoughts on that as well?
As I said, I think I expect Varane. If I would get concerned if Varane is not playing against Copenhagen. I think he wanted Varane to play for Copenhagen, and he just doesn't think Varane is capable of playing, 2 games in a short space of time, right? He tends to be a little more injured, and that's the case. So that is what I think. As far as doing the Glazers' dirty work, um, I'm sure Ten Hag has a short list of defenders that he wants to get rid of and sell, and I'm sure Varane is not on the top of that list. So I'd already ascribe to that a conspiracy theory.
Yeah, no problem. Had to bring it up. Let me get to some of these comments right now coming in here. And good afternoon to the man himself, Kess. If you all have not watched his review of the match, you need to go ahead and do that. It was a very good one as well too. Kess is saying that if Wan-Bissaka can turn it around, he has hope for Harry Maguire. Yeah, he's definitely the last couple of matches he's been doing
Kes,
well. I'm hoping that
Kes
he can
is
keep
a
it up.
man. Kes is a man full of faith. As you kind of person you need riding with you on hard times. 'Cause
And
I ain't
Kess
sure
is
I had
also
how much faith.
Kess is also saying Copenhagen is a more important game. We're gonna get to that in the second half of our show today. But yeah, I want to get on to the next topic right now. And we can start with what is going on with our wingers right now. Um, Long story short, and this is directed towards two players in particular. That would be Anthony as well as Marcus Rashford. We'll start with Anthony first. Anthony comes in on big money. Obviously, we could have had him for cheaper in that transfer window if certain people had actually agreed to the transfer ahead of time. But that's for that's for another time. We could do a whole show on that. Comes in big money signing, and it just seems that he is known more for being a fidget spinner than being a winger right now. Um, it's just that he's regressed. It seems like Premier League teams have already figured him out. He looks like a shell of the player that he was at Ajax. People have realized that, well, he has no right foot, and he is basically like a like a very budget Robin is basically how teams have figured him out to be. And just gonna cut down either dribble down the line, and then try to cut back on that left foot, or you know what, try to dribble on people and lose the ball. The one thing though, which he does do, he does press. However, we all saw what happened when Palestri came on the weekend now. So Palestri took his chance, and you know what? It was because of him pressing after Bruno lost the ball that we scored that goal. So, what say you right now about Anthony, Chad?
Um, Anthony, His mind seems to be not in the game. I don't have a problem with you being a one-trick pony. You know, there are a lot of players like Robin that are one-trick ponies, but you need to be good with that trick. You know, you need to be beating men down the line. You need to be making the right footballing decisions when you get into the final third. Because right now, whatever is going on with Rashford on the left seems to be contagious because Rashford is getting his opportunities running down the line. But his decision making is poor. When he's supposed to cross the ball, he tries to shoot. When he's supposed to shoot, he tries to pass. And when he does make the right decision and pass, he passes the ball too close to the striker or too far away. It doesn't be a good pass. And that seems to have been, you know, spread to Anthony. Anthony's decision making this season is horrible. You know, he still has the pace. He still beats men on the wing. He's still, you know, able to get up and down that wing. He does his defensive duties very well. But when he gets down and he don't cross. When he's supposed to cross, he don't shoot. If he does shoot, it's never on target. It's like no good decision making at all from our senior wingers. And you know, you have people like Garnacho and Palestri looking way better than Rashford and Anthony right now. And that's just unacceptable. You expect your senior players to be setting the bar, to be setting the standard. And right now the standards they're setting is really poor. I can't be upset with anybody who thinks that Anthony should be on the bench for our next game or maybe even our next two games. You know, like give Palestri a start. I mean, I am looking forward to see what our man could do when he comes back. You know, because um, you know, this has a lot to be desired on the right. I don't want to. I'm not writing Anthony off. I'm not prepared to say he's a boss for Manchester United, but I think this whole situation, with him being dropped from Brazil, him being suspended for a little period of time from Manchester United, you know, these kind of things sometimes take a toll on you. You know, mentally, you may need a little help to get back in the game, to get back in your zone. So, you know, we need to be cognizant of a player's mental health. And I'm not ready to rubbish the player. But right now, you're not getting it done.
Yeah, I would have to say the same as well. It's the stats right now. They are not. They're not acceptable for at this to be at Manchester United. The stats he's putting up
Zero
right now
goals, zero assists.
his decision making that he's making is not acceptable right now. And you've got Palestri like biting at the chomps again, and then when he gets in, he proves it. And like you said, once Ahmad comes back into this as well, then you're gonna have three different youngster wingers for those two spots who are gonna be competing against them. And what my hope is, iron sharpens iron. You know what? Let him hold that bench for a little bit. Let him earn his spot back over Palestri or Diallo when he comes back in, and let's make him earn it. And then as he's in there, you know what? When he gets opportunity again, let's let him come back in and justify why we fought all summer to get him in right now. Cash is saying right now he would like to try Martial at left winger and Rashford right winger with Hoyland on top. When Rashford's on the right, he crosses a lot more. Is
True.
that
He's not as confident cutting in on that side and shooting. So
I
that
was
is
going to say
very true.
if this is what he wants to try for Wednesday, I will come back to this comment on the second half of the show once we talk about the match for Wednesday. But yeah, I just wanted to highlight it real quick. But I will not forget about this comment. Yeah, when it comes to Anthony, like I said, I believe the players in form should be playing. I don't care how much money you're on. I don't care how many social media followers you have. I don't care about any of that. If you're in form and you are delivering results, you deserve the start.
Agreed.
We do have to get to, well, I guess you could call him the man of the hour right now, Marcus Rashford. Marcus Rashford, coming off his best season in a United shirt, signs the ridiculous contract. And it just appears that for whatever reason, he has been a shadow of himself. I know we've all spoken on it before. I know I, for one, was saying that had to be tactic reasons why he was not tracking back the same way as he was before, save energy, things like that. But
New
there's
contract syndrome.
clearly something going on there, which I cannot figure out. it seems that he does not have the same confidence that he has. His decision making is off. I do not understand it. He's not shooting when he should be shooting. He's not passing when he should be passing. He's not tracking back after he loses the ball. He's running with his head down. He's not looking for players in better positions. He looks nothing like the player he was last season. And I gotta ask you, what do you think is going on with him?
I mean, they just talk about new contract syndrome, right? I mean, like Willan and plenty other players. There's a long list of players. As soon as they get a new contract, they form dips. When they're playing for that contract, they play well. I don't think Rashford is one of those, but it just really doesn't look good. The timing of his bad form doesn't look good. But I don't know. And again, I think it's something psychological. I don't know. Rashford hasn't been in it from preseason until now. I don't know if you remember, we started the first 2 games of the season with Garnacho on the left. And we didn't start with Garnacho on the left because Rashford wasn't the man. I mean, come on, you just came off your best season. We started with Garnacho because Rashford wasn't looking good in preseason. Right? Garnacho stunk up the joint for those 2 games. We keeping it real. And so Rashford was back in the team, but Rashford just hasn't been pulling in trees. Personally, I believe Rashford just need a goal. I think if we get a penalty, Bruno Fernandes needs to hand the ball to Marcus Rashford. I just think Marcus Rashford needs a goal. Sometimes strikers just need a goal. And he needs something to work for him. He needs to pass a ball and get a nice easy assist for Haaland, a nice tap in. He needs to put a bullet through the net. And I think whatever it is, that will clear the cobweb out of his head and we'll see a different player. Sometimes it's just a matter of confidence and you just need one thing to build your confidence back. That game on the weekend was really tough. I don't think if that goal was allowed in the first 8 minutes, the game would have been that tough. Sometimes you just need something to boost your confidence. And Rashford, in my opinion, need a goal. Somehow.
That was my exact thinking when he scored in the last international break for England, where he scored a beautiful goal. And my thinking was, all right, let this be the catalyst right now for him to come back to Manchester United full of confidence and he could do something. And it just seemed that he reverted right back to how he was before. So I don't know. Let me go to some of these comments. Good afternoon to Martin Phillip, as always. And Martin Phillip is saying Rashford needs a change of scenery. Let him play for City. It's still in Manchester. Tell you what, I'll tell you what, do a vote in for Marcus Rashford. Let's see how that works out. Yeah, you know what? They're both still in Manchester. They're both Manchester lads. You want to do that? We can talk. Anyway.
Forget about Foden. Where's the youth man who almost had a hat trick on the weekend? Where's his name?
Doku,
yeah, we can take Rashford and we'll take Doku. You can do it. You can do that.
Yeah, Mr. Golden Forest says Doku. Yeah, we can do that.
You can make that one for sure.
Yeah. But it's interesting though, because there have been certain fan channels who have a large following, been around for a while, who have been talking about this. They seem to push certain narratives as well. They have a man on there who's famous for overreactions and whatnot. I think we all know who I'm talking about here. Well, Marcus Rashford seemed to have had enough of it as well. And you know what? They posted up something today. He decided to come in on there. And he stated, case in point, that channel asked Rashford's future in doubt, saying, what next? Interesting, they put up a picture with him as well as Amad Diallo. And Marcus decides to step in himself and answers, please stop spreading malicious rumors. Now, naturally, this lit up the internet. Had men from this channel damage control videos out real quick. Just trying to make it seem that they were fine and whatnot too. I think we all know who I'm speaking about. I don't have to say names. But President Chad, what say you about this?
Well, You know, first things first, when things go on in the media and you talk to players, one of the things players, all players, say is, oh, I don't watch the papers. Oh, I don't watch social media. I focus on my game. That is a lie, people. All football, let me not say all. The vast majority of footballers watch what people are saying about them. They pay attention. You understand? Another case in point. Um, the striker who won suspension for gambling from Brentford,
Tony.
Ivan Tony. There were times last season when fantasy football people were saying, "Oh, drop Ivan Tony. He ain't doing nothing." Next game, the man come out and score 2 goals or some kind of thing, and reference in his social media fantasy football. These fellas just watch everything. They doesn't just watch news. They just watch social media. They just watch fantasy football content. This football is these fellas' life. So when footballers come out to you and say, "Oh, I don't hear the criticism and I don't see," and they lying, right? They lying. Rashford proves that. He does be paying attention. And I have no problem with him doing this because, why you this is just a thumbnail to get clicks. There is nothing to suggest Marcus Rashford future or career at Manchester United is in doubt. Even if Marcus Rashford get dropped for a game, or rock a little bench, that don't mean that his future in United is in doubt. So there's just clickbait. And sometimes players really need to call people out because it's just ridiculous, and for whatever reason, maybe because he's English and he will get extra clicks being that the channel is English based. Um, people will target people like Rashford, they'll target people like Maguire, Anthony, you know, Greenwood. People love to target these guys. And once in a while it's good for a player to come out and defend themselves. But the reality is, folks, these guys watch all of these footballers, they pay attention. Believe you me, they pay attention.
And good afternoon to yes I can't pronounce that. Yes, Yada saying black and white
Yeah,
are
sorry.
targets. Yeah, sorry for saying your name wrong. Saying yeah, in the English media could go after pretty much everybody with that. I have no problem at all with Marcus Rashford's comments. What I do have a problem with is in the rebuttal from these issues right now. The same people are dishing out these videos now trying to play damage control and basically saying, "Oh, well, we always backed him in the past for this and that." So it seems that you want to dish it out. But when the player says something back, you can't take it and you backtrack with how you were saying before. I can pretty much say at no time on this channel have we been calling for him to leave the club, anything like that. What we have said is when you're not playing well, you deserve to be on the bench until you get your form back and know how to get back there. I will stick by that 100%. But we're not going to sit here and we do not have clickbait. We're not going to do that. We on this channel. I love the fact that we will just tell it how it is. Sometimes it's not what you like to hear, but it could be what you need to hear. And
Well,
Kess,
I mean, one
yeah,
of the
Kess,
things I
certain egos got hurt. And anyway, but yes, now what I will say with this, I hope, you were talking that Rashford needs a goal. I hope this is the motivation right here. I hope like my honest opinion, I hope this is the background on Rashford's phone. This headline right here. I hope he sees this. I hope this is the motivation to get him back to how we know where he should be. I hope there's some person around him, and this is when like he gets his the Michael Jordan and I took that seriously meme. Or sorry, and I took that personally. Sorry, that's what it was. That's what I hope that this moment turns into for Rashford, and I hope now if this doesn't do anything, I don't know, but I want to give him the chance because I know what type of player he could be.
well, after him sitting on the bench, even though they said it was due to injury, I would expect him to start against Copenhagen. Some people may find he don't deserve to start, but I would expect him to start. And let's see what he does. And let's hope that he could come out there and get some kind of return early on in the game.
Yeah, we will see. Like I said, we'll get to Copenhagen later on. Get later on for the second half of the show. I did want to bring up another topic. We have said what's going on with a defender, what's going on with our wingers, and now this is the last topic before we get into what we want to see for Wednesday. What is going on with VAR? You know, I don't know about you.
Was he score on this first game, Devin? Still 1-0?
Right now, it looks like it is. Let me check. It is 1-1 right now. Still, after that very interesting first half, where speaking of VAR, that would have been a perfect example of it. But I mean, it seems as though ever since the Wolves game, or Onana should have conceded a penalty.
I don't agree with that at all. Where it was when they claimed that they made a mistake. But go ahead.
But anyway, since then, it's been interesting. There's been ESPN put out an article and explain how VAR has affected teams in terms of plus or a minus. we were the ones at -5, and I think the next one is like -3 or something like that. So it shows that yes, we have been affected the most this season. We just question right now where it's like you could go from handballs off Garnacho shots that were called that were called for other teams, but it was not called for us. You could call for I think it was against Brighton. Rashford kicks the ball where it was deemed to be over the line. Yeah, you look at the Arsenal Newcastle game, almost identical. What happened there? You could look for another example of United versus Arsenal now, where Højlund is dragged in the box by Gabriel. No penalty. You go to the Manchester Derby. Højlund has less contact on him. Højlund has less contact on Roger than what was on him. VAR goes and checks that. Somehow that is given as a penalty. You come from yesterday. Harry Maguire is pushed in the back, but it's determined that he is making a play towards the ball, and it impeded the defender somehow. I gotta ask you right now, what is going on with VAR this season? Oh, and then this is the first time because I don't know about you, but I was told and read everywhere VAR is supposed to be for clear and obvious errors. However, yesterday or Saturday was the first time I ever heard of subjective VAR. So I gotta ask you, what is going on with VAR right now?
Subjective offside. It's they say you don't ever blame the program or your computer, you blame the user, right? And so the question really needs to be what is going on with the English referees? Why do they consistently get stuff wrong? I mean, England is not the only place using VAR. All the other top European countries using VAR. Why are we constantly talking about poor decisions? Why is the referee association coming out on almost every weekend now, giving an apology and saying, oh, well, this should have been called instead of that? I mean, come on. How are they training these guys? I mean, how hard is it to be a referee in the UK? You know what I'm saying? So I don't think it has anything to do with VAR itself. I think it just has to do with these referees. And the same way sometimes things get into player heads, I think stuff getting into these refs' heads. I was really concerned during that Arsenal game that they may have pulled off the Newcastle goal, not because I thought it was a goal, but just because of how tight the game was. I was like, you know what, these fellas might find something to pull this off, It's starting to feel like some of these decisions are motivated not by what is going on the pitch, but the scenario in the game or who the teams are. And no, I may be totally wrong, but you don't want that. That's what you don't want. You don't want people to start questioning in their mind why that decision was given versus that other one. That's what you don't want. You don't want people to say, oh, this team always is because it's United, we getting a bad call. But sometimes it just feel like that. It just feel like that. So the referee association need to get itself sorted. They need to use VAR for what it's for and not trying to add things. right? If it's not a clear and obvious decision, it's not a clear and obvious decision. We talking about subjective nothing. You understand what I'm saying? Leave that alone. And you need to be consistent. There
Correct.
was a time they were calling handballs left, right, and center. I found it was ridiculous. Eventually, they adjusted it, but it was consistent, right? Every time the ball
Correct.
touch a man hand is a foul. Holland, sorry, cannot be judged to not be fouled in the box. And then a couple weeks later, do a man almost the same thing, less of it a matter of fact, and then get a penalty against City of all people. Like if they need help scoring goals, you know what I mean? It's you need they need to sit down and sort themselves out, the referees. I don't blame VAR. Nothing wrong with VAR. Nothing wrong with the technology. The refs had to take it on the chin. They had to blame for the situation.
Yeah, I definitely want to get everybody. I want to hear everybody in the comments as well. Please comment as well. What is your take on VAR this season? I don't know about you, and like when Bruno scored that goal, I did not celebrate.
He
And
was
it's not
waiting.
and it's not because it's the fact that we needed something last in Fergie time to score against Fulham. I was happy that we scored, but I am so traumatized by VAR that I felt they were going to find some reason to take it back. And it is so infuriated. It's like it takes the joy out of it because I'll celebrate it, and then all of a sudden, VAR will find some stupid reason to take it back. So it's like, what's the point? That is pretty much where I am at now. And lo and behold, I did celebrate our first goal just for VAR to take 4 minutes on something that's supposed to be a clear and obvious error to make a subjective decision.
The fact that you take 4 minutes,
Yes,
you should have just be like, you know what? This taking too long. Psh, goal. Because clearly it's not clear and obvious. Clearly it is not. So, but whatever. It is what it is.
it kind of goes with something where I have been calling for this, and I think we have talked about doing a show for this, which I want to see what rule changes would you make. One of the rule changes that I want is when they do the VAR, it's very simple. It's very similar to when, for example, in cricket, when they go to the DRS for review, where you could clearly hear them speaking about it, asking for the lines, everything like that, asking for the ultra edge technology, following the ball tracking, everything like that. And then for anybody who's watching in the US, basically what happens in cricket is if there's subjective decisions on whether you could be out or not, one of the ways that you can get out in cricket is they wear these big pads on covering their knees and their lower legs as well. There's three sticks behind called wickets, and so if the ball hits those pads and it would have hit the wickets, if those pads weren't there, that's one way you could be out. It's called like before wicket LBW. For those in the West Indies, I know I'm explaining it, and this is not for you, so please don't give me any grief for this. It could be subjective, but they have a review system in that where they have technology where they can hear if it clearly hits off a bat, if it hits the pads first, and there's ball tracking that could show it would have hit the sticks. And they say it in real time. You hear all the conversation as well, everything too. So there's no error for you can't dispute it. Like in years past, there were some big debates about that in years past. All my West Indian fans could talk about quite a few of them as well. But there's no room for debate now. Why can't we do that in football as well too now? Just
Um,
have the conversation. Okay, where am I getting my lines drawn? I want to draw it here. Can I see it from different angles? Whatnot? Is it clear and obvious? Yes. Okay, then it's a mistake. If it's not clear and obvious, there's got to be a set point where it's like we're taking too long for this. It's clearly not clear and obvious. Then we need to stick with the on-field decision.
I agree with that suggestion. I think that is a good change to make. But it right now is not a change I would make, simply because it is only going to make the referees look worse. If we get to hear the stuff that they're saying, and right now we're seeing bad decisions being made, imagine hearing them talking about making bad decisions too. That's only going to make them worse. You would hope that they would improve, but that is definitely a rule that I would like introduced. Because sometimes you wonder if refs are told, all right, wait, don't start back the game, hold on, I'm checking something. You just kind of, and hearing that conversation would be helpful, I think. And it'll also, when you're under a little more scrutiny, it makes you a little less likely, to do crap. But I think they just need to be consistent. They need to be consistent. They need to be consistent and realize here we're going. Football is still a contact sport. Every time a ball is kicked in the box, there's going to be some kind of jostling. There's going to be some kind of tussling. Um, and there's only extreme things as given for penalties. You know what I mean? We don't give tiki tac fouls in the box for penalties. You might get all the box around the center circle, but not in the box. Right? And we just need to be consistent. The refs need to get themselves in a gear because we how many referees are you gonna demote to the championship? You know what I mean? The limited referees that you're going to have, they're going to
To
be
be fair, he
overlooked.
deserved it. To be fair, the last one deserved it. But
No, I agree,
yeah,
but what I'm saying is it doesn't make sense, punishing referees because every week is another referee sending on the championship because every week is a mistake every single weekend without a fail. So they just need to chill out and get right. Probably they need some more. I see they're bringing in some female line official and stuff. It might seem like a radical thing and totally unrelated, but maybe they need some black referees. Maybe they need to go their way to train some guys. Maybe they could see a little better, maybe run a little. But I don't know, but they need to try something. They need to try something out of the box. Because whatever they're doing in England right now ain't working. Get some female referees in there, get some Asian, some African guys, import referees from India or something. Try something because it ain't working out right now.
oh Jesus, Tottenham are down to 9 men now. Wish you all right. Um.
Yeah.
Anyway, but
Udagi,
another
Udagi
suggestion.
finally, Udagi finally got his second yellow card.
Correct. Yeah, it looks like it was a little bit. I'm a little bit behind because I've been focused on our show here. So for everybody in the comments, don't come at me about that. The focus here. United is more important than Chelsea and Tottenham. Anyway, another suggestion that I would like. You remember the VAR system that they had at the World Cup? Why can we not have that for the Premier League as well? Why can't we bring that in over at starting from next season? Because we saw how accurate that was. All the that took out all these subjective camera angles and questionable lines being drawn and all this other stuff, which has also been another discussion. It was right there. They had the different angles, everything as well too. And anybody remember when I'm talking about for the last World Cup with that?
And the decisions, if I recall, they used to come fairly quickly as well.
Correct. So whatever they were doing at the World Cup, that is what I want to see come back into the Premier League.
And you see again, for the World Cup, how much English referees do they have?
I think they have one.
For the
I think they
World
have
Cup, they have referees from all over the world, and somehow these guys speaking different languages seem to be able to get it right. Maybe maybe all these white dudes speaking the same language adding to the problem. I don't know how, but it just seems to be not working. For the Premier
I would
League.
definitely have to agree. But yes, I will have to say right now, the most consistent thing about VAR this season is inconsistency.
Correct.
Um, and that's just an it's that's why in a way I normally I would laugh at like comments made from other teams like Arsenal when they put out the statement, things like that. I know we laughed at Liverpool, we laughed at Jurgen Klopp for a while with his decisions, but I have to say I am starting to believe Jurgen Klopp was onto something before everybody else. Speaking about the inconsistency of the decisions, Arsenal seeing it now. The only thing that I wonder is why nobody from United has spoken out on it yet. That's something that I still have been trying to figure out too, because it seems apparently once you speak out, you
Remember,
get certain decisions your way.
remember the remember the FA Cup frowns on you criticizing referees and managers could get fined. I don't know what are the penalty for clubs, but they kind of the reason why club got away with it is because his statements was after the referee association came out and said they made a mistake. So his real damning statements, he waited. He didn't damn them one time. He waited until they made a statement and then he went out and said what he had to say. So, you gotta be careful. You just can't go out there willy-nilly. We have enough drama at United. We don't need to see Ten Hag and with that three match ban or some kind of silliness, because other managers will get away with it. The minute and I open him out and talk about the referees and VAR, they'll go and hit him with a fine or hit him with a ban or some kind of silliness. So you know what? I think I keep quiet. If the club want to do something, the club do it. But managers stay quiet.
I may have
That's
to
no
agree with
problem.
you because I mean other managers have spoken out, nothing has happened yet. But then again, with the inconsistency with the FA with their decisions, this may be the one time they decide enough is enough. So I may agree with you on this one, but
Yeah, yeah.
something has to change with this VAR now, not just for United but across the league in general. We just all we ask for is consistency. Now for our last topic of the evening for today, we have another match coming up on Wednesday. We're traveling to Copenhagen. Um, Got to play against Copenhagen. I know last time we won because of a great save from Andre Onana, which he has been in very good form since then. I don't care what anybody says with the previous losses like that. How many I don't blame him for any of those goals. Um, he's been a little shaky when he started off, but ever since then, it kind of reminds me of you remember David De Gea was kind of questionable until he made that save against Juan Mata. Kind of need that
Mm-hmm.
moment to get yourself going. It's like we were talking about where strikers need a goal to get their confidence going. Sometimes the keeper just needs a great moment, great save. What way to do it than save a penalty on the last kick of the game at Old Trafford? Anyway,
From the son of a former player.
that too. That too, I might add. So a former striker as well too. I might add at that. Yeah, anyway, what Whitehorse should have been. But anyway, sorry. What are you expecting to see on Wednesday?
Another struggling and convincing win. I expect us to grind out a result. The only way I think we're gonna not struggle, or let me rephrase struggle, be unconvincing is if we score early. I think if we score early, it'll settle the nerves. We understand what is at stake. Anything other than a win, and that is it for Champions League. I mean, nobody expects Manchester United to win the Champions League. Manchester United fans, we don't expect to win the Champions League. But you expect to come out the group. You know what I mean? It's Galatasaray and Copenhagen. And, you understand what I'm saying? So we expect to come out the group. So there is a lot of pressure on us. I personally, I'll be very honest with you. I've said this before and I'll say it again. If we can't come out the group, I don't want to be in Europe. If we can't come out the group, it's best we come last and we just don't be playing on the weekends. I mean, in the middle of the week, because there's extra games is ridiculous. So there is pressure on the players. I expect Varane to start. I expect Rashford to start. I would like to see Palestri get a start. I don't think we have anything to lose. And I would also like to see Amrabat. And I would like to see Hannibal.
Yeah,
Um,
sorry, I was going to say I wanted to go. And I said earlier in the show, Cass has put up a comment that we come back to it. So I want to come back to that right now. And we weren't sure if this is what he was talking about. He wanted to see for Wednesday or not, but we could discuss it right now as well. Martial on the left, Rashford on the right, Hoyland up top. We all know Rashford loves to play off the left. That's where he claims that's his best. But we have also seen him he scored quite a few goals playing on the right as well too. I actually think that this could work. My only concern is Martial is made out of glass.
I think this you need to play this for teams that you're not going to give us a low block. Now, yes, Copenhagen is going to play a low block, but Copenhagen is capable of playing football, right? They are very competent football inside. I would use this against a team like Luton or something like that, who do have really dangerous wingers. So if Rashford and Martial are a little slow in their defensive duties, it's not going to hurt us that much. But this is definitely for a low block team. When you're playing the likes of a Burnley or you're playing the likes of a Luton or Sheffield United, and a critical game like Champions League, like Copenhagen. But it's something I would be willing to try it. I think Hoyland will get more service from the right that way than when Anthony playing for sure. Because Rashford doesn't have that confidence cutting in and shooting off the right as he does off the left. You find he's going to cross the ball a little more. Um, and Martial is going to bring his own thing, his own flavor, playing on the left. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, so Tess was also saying after that, if we score early, Copenhagen will open up. Otherwise, it's low block and counterattack. Basically, what you were discussing earlier as well too. I was actually going to say I'd like to see Palestri in place of Anthony on that wing.
Agreed.
I've been back and forth with Rashford and Garnacho because I don't care what VAR says. Oh God, VAR is doing another decision right now in the Chelsea Spurs match. Watch them take this back now too. Somehow they can find a way to do that. Sorry, I don't trust VAR, so I still say Garnacho played well. I know VAR took back the goal, but I still say that was an assist for him. He did everything right that he was supposed to do. Now, in light of recent comments made by fan channels and Rashford responding, another part of me says, I hope that this is the one that lights a fire up underneath him. It's his Michael Jordan, and I took that personally moment. And he comes out and he torches Copenhagen. And I hope that he finds some way to like do a celebration where he mocks that certain fella who doesn't even go to the matches, live streams all the things, and has crazy reactions. Does something to call it out. I hope so. So you know what? Let's try Palestri and Rashford. And you know what? Once one of them gets tired, then you have Garnacho to come on and finish it off.
And who knows? I mean, we've never really seen Anthony off the bench in any meaningful way. Let's see. Let's see if Anthony comes on with a little extra fire. I mean, there's some players, like when they're gonna Solskjaer, like Garnacho so far, they just come off the bench and a different player. So when they start, let's see Anthony off the bench and see what he could do for us.
Yeah, I would have to agree. So let's see. Any other changes that we make? You take. Do you think that Varane and Maguire could form a good partnership?
No, and the reason I don't think that is because once we have games in the middle of the week, we're going into the Christmas season, and there's a lot of games. You can't play Varane 3 times in a week. You can't play him every 3 days. You just can't. And once you're not playing a player consistently.
Yeah. Sorry. I'm watching the other game right now. Chelsea just scored, and then Tottenham equalized, but of course they called offside, so it's going to VAR to look at. Sorry. Keep going.
So you're not gonna form a proper partnership until probably January, and by that time Martinez is supposed to be on the way back. So,
but remember,
right now Manchester United's defense is going to be.
I'm asking about
Manchester United's defense is going to be choppy between now and the end of the year, calendar year, and we just have to accept that. Sometimes we're going to see Evans, sometimes we're going to see Lindelof, sometimes we're going to see Varane. We just have to,
But remember, I am asking for Wednesday. What would you like to see?
I expect to see Varane on Wednesday, as I said that at the start. So Varane and Maguire in the back for sure.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well too. Wan-Bissaka is getting a nice resurgence. Dalot or Reguilon?
I play Reguilon and let Dalot get a little rest. Let Dalot come on the weekend. Luton, we have to remember Luton just drew with Liverpool and almost beat Liverpool.
They should have won that. They should have won that match, but
yeah. Anyway. So we can't just think, oh well, it's Luton. No, this is the Premier League. It don't always nobody. So we need to have an eye on the weekend as well.
Correct, and yeah, that game Luton is licking their chops, ready to go for that. Do you think that we see Amrabat Because if I
I
remember,
I expect us to see Amrabat.
so if I
Again,
remember correctly,
he's also
Casemiro is
somebody
out.
that I
He's out
believe
for
was
this game too,
rested.
right? Because Casemiro's out for this game, right?
Yeah, Casemiro still injured.
No, I
Um,
thought he was suspended or something like that.
it don't matter, he injured.
Yeah.
So,
So
right, but I expect to see Amrabat, and I would like to see Amrabat partner with Hannibal. You know, I mean, it's an important game. I don't know when we're going to see Menu on the pitch again, because they're all important games at this stage. But I would like to see instead of Ericsson, I would like to see two aggressive midfielders in the middle of the park and see how that works.
and the next thing now, it's talking about signings are well, there will be our big money signing, but after that we have Mason Mount. Do you think that somehow he makes an appearance in this match, or no? Especially with the holiday fixtures coming up, and it's going to be a lot of matches. We got to rotate the sides.
Not for me, no. I wouldn't start Mason Mount in this game.
You would start Mason Mount over.
I wouldn't start Mason Mount over our ball boy in this game. Mason Mount could play on the weekend against Luton. Not this game.
And good afternoon to Carlton. Carlton is saying that Ten Hag must go. That's your opinion as well. Please, that is the point of the comments here.
Can I ask Carlton a question?
You'll have to explain in that one, Carlton. But yeah, go ahead.
I would like Carlton to give me some suggestions. A list, a very short list of other managers that he would like to replace Eric Ten Hag with. A little three names. Just curious. Go ahead.
I know that we were speaking about the preview for Wednesday, but I want to highlight this comment right now from Mr. Martin Phillip. Even though he is a City fan, he always shows us love here on the channel. But he's saying right here, English refs are not as good as we think. For the best league in the world, the refereeing is horrible.
Facts.
I don't think that you're going to find a single person on this channel who disagrees with that statement.
Facts.
So if United and City fans can come to an agreement on this, that's got to tell you something as well. So Carlton is saying right now that he does not have any names. He just thinks that Ten Hag needs to go.
No problem. That's cool. It's entitled to his opinion. But that's just my thing. When I hear people say, because it's just like players. I was telling somebody the other day, you're seeing Rashford. This was before the game, right? Everybody saying Rashford playing crap. At the beginning of the season, we started with Garnacho on the left, and Garnacho was horrible. So, it's like, you just can't be like, that's just half of it. You can't say, Ten Hag out. Okay, Ten Hag out, and what we going to do? Who is the backup plan? It can't be drop this player and replace them with who?
Carlton's saying that he's lost the team. And there was a point where I felt that way. Like I felt that he had lost the dressing room, to say the least. I've been back and forth on this, and I was sitting there in my head drawing up a list of names on who could replace him right now. The ideal name, the number one, like in a dream world, would be Zinedine Zidane, was the top of my list. But the chance of getting him, I think will be very unlikely, because he'd want to go into a ready-made team. And why would he want to try to tarnish his legacy after what he did at Real Madrid? The next name that I actually thought was a bit controversial was Kieran McKenna. And the reason being, when you look at Ole's success and everything that he had, if you think about it, McKenna was pulling a lot of strings. He was the one running the trainings as well too. He was the one, between him and Michael Carrick, who were the ones that were stating, okay, play these players. You should do this player, play this player, and whatnot too. And you know what? Ole did not listen to it. But you look at what McKenna's doing right now. He's doing a great job. So that's why I thought that would be the more realistic choice to make. But
I have no comments on Ten Hag replacements.
Like I said, when I went through it, those are the two names that I came up with. Because you know what? You had to sit there and you had to I had to come up with names. Because like you, I can't just say somebody needs to go unless I have a solution in mind. And that's just what I could think of. So, and also, good afternoon to my fellow Bajan. Welcome. You're late like a true Bajan, by the way. As we finishing up, you want to come on now? Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, coming back to Wednesday now. We discussed the midfield. We discussed obviously the defenders. Onana's not going anywhere. We're saying the wingers right now. We're playing Bruno in the middle.
Yeah.
All right.
And
then I have to ask right now, score predictions.
1-0 United.
Yeah, I could definitely see it's going to be a very close match. It's not going to be easy, but then again, how many of our matches have even been anything aside from the Carabao Cup match where we actually look somewhat like a little bit of a team against a B side? Other than that, it's all been struggle. So I feel that it's going to be status quo with United for the time being, at least. Chad, Martin Phillip is asking if the league have fined Arsenal's manager.
Not
I don't know that.
To my knowledge, no. Klopp has been talking, Arteta has been talking, but nobody else in willing to say anything because they know what it is.
Correct. Yes, is a bit more optimistic than us. He's saying United will have a victory. And Carlton is saying something that I wholeheartedly agree with on this right here. This 1-0 thing is not good for my health.
Brother, I agree with you. You know,
that is, this keeps going. And you know what? You go watch like through this season. My hairline's gonna start going from here to here to here to here. Watching this, all this here right now, it will not be as dark as this if this season when those keep going. That's all that I could say on that note too.
For sure.
So I wholeheartily agree with that comment. Well, it's definitely been a great show. Getting ready to wrap things up now. This match is still 2-1 to Chelsea against 9-man Tottenham. So we'll see what happens if VAR doesn't find a way to intervene again. Any parting words right now before we shut it down?
It's times like this, the real fans, the real supporters, really get to shine. We complain about, we want to win games and X, Y, and Z. There are people supporting teams that have never won any silverware in their history. But they go and they fill the stadium, they buy their kits, they buy their scarves right through. Manchester United has been fortunate. We have been blessed to have a very full history, a lot of silverware. And we're going through a tough time, and we had a rally. We had a rally behind the players, behind the team, behind the manager as long as he's here. And outside of that, Glazers out.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on today. And stay tuned. We got more content coming out. We're going to have a lot more shows coming out with the channel. Be sure to like, subscribe. Do not forget about the Wayne Rooney shirt. Stay tuned as well. And you know what? It's my show, so we're not going to end it like how you do. We end how I do. We keep the red flag flying high because Man United will never die. Take care.
Hey, if you appreciate what we're doing here at the United Hour, please like, please subscribe, and let's grow this community.